Good afternoon, everyone. We are pleased to have Orioles Executive Vice President and General Manager Mike Elias, #1 overall pick Jackson Holliday, and Jackson's agent Scott Boras with us today. We also have members of Jackson's family, his parents Matt and Leslie, his brothers Ethan and Reed, his girlfriend Chloe, and his sister Grayson. We also have additional members from the Boras Corporation. Thank you, everybody, for being here. As a reminder, please state your name and affiliation so that Jackson can get to know the beat. Be much appreciated. With that, I will turn it over to Mike Elias.
Thanks, Nate. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming down today. We've officially signed the number one overall pick in the draft and our first pick of our draft, Jackson Holliday. Obviously, this is a very exciting, very historic moment for this franchise and for Jackson personally, and couldn't be more optimistic about the partnership of Jackson Holliday and the Baltimore Orioles and where this is going to go. This was a very thorough and very difficult decision at the top of the draft. It always is, but this group in particular was a tremendous group that we were choosing from, and so many good choices. And I think for him to have emerged from a group of players as talented as the ones we were looking at were speaks a lot to the type of player that we think he is and that he's capable of being. Jackson, I think the separator for him is going to be what he's going to bring to the table off the field, in terms of applying himself, knowing where he's going with his game, work ethic, and certainly the off the field foundation that his family has brought him and will continue to bring him, and his representation, who's here today. And we're very encouraged that he's got the right head on his shoulders and the right direction in terms of maximizing his potential. This is a tough game to play nowadays for young players. There's so much work that goes into it, so many adjustments ahead. He's going to have bumps in the road, it's never easy now for even the best prospects in the game to make it up to the majors and be successful in the major leagues. But it's even harder, I think, when you're the #1 pick. I've seen a lot firsthand of the work that Adley Rutschman has done in his path up here, and other players, and how much that takes. And I'm very confident that Jackson's going to be right alongside the best in terms of applying himself and doing the best he can. He's on the field. I think we're all familiar with his profile, but view him as a 5-tool shortstop. Anytime you're saying that, I think it's a pretty exciting package. And he above average in all 5 phases of the game: running, throwing, fielding, hitting, power. That said, he's got the minor leagues ahead of him and all the challenges that I talked about. And we let players have their own development path and kind of tell us when they're ready for the next step. But he's going to be starting his career in Florida tomorrow. He will be with our Florida Complex team in Sarasota at our great facility there, and we'll take it from there. But I imagine he's going to spend the majority of the summer there, if not all the summer there. There's not much season left, and we'll hope to get him into some game action as soon as possible. So. It's nice to have everybody in here. We haven't been able to do this the last couple of years because of COVID, and so the last time that we had this press conference really for the first round pick was with Rutschman in 2019, and at that point in time, it felt like we were just kind of starting something, and he was a big piece of a big project we were trying to build. And I look now, and this has a totally different feeling to me, adding Jackson's talent right now. Our organization, I think, is in the healthiest spot it's been in a very long time. We've got a major league team, to their credit, that's up here playing a really exciting brand of baseball, playing really well. They're young, they're talented. So many of them are going to be here for a while. and we're sitting on the #1 farm system in the game. And now we have somebody that I expect is going to one day develop into one of the very best players in the game, kind of joining from the bottom tier of our farm system and kind of joining this group. So very pleased to have finalized this and see what Jackson does, and I congratulate him and his whole group. I also want to point out Ken Guthrie, our signing scout, did a fabulous job tracking Jackson all spring, and Brad Seelick, Director of Draft Operations, and the rest of the team that put so much into this decision, what I think is going to be a great pick. So now I will officially present Jackson with first cap and Orioles jersey, and turn it over to him and Scott. All right. Nice. One button.
Yep. There we go.
Easy in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You did it faster than most. All right.
Awesome. Oh, I would like to thank everybody for coming, and my parents and Scott and the Boris Corps for making this process very easy.
We'll open up to questions. Rob?
Rock Vodka with MASN. Jackson, now that you've gotten to this point, just how excited are you to start playing baseball again? What do you think those early days are going to be like down in Florida?
I'm very excited to start playing. It's been a little bit since I've been able to compete on the baseball field, so I'm very excited to get going and get down there to Florida and start competing.
Nathan,
Yeah, go ahead.
Baltimore Sun. Mike, like you mentioned, you've obviously picked highly at the draft a few times. You've met with a lot of players who are in this position. In what ways were those conversations with Jackson unique?
I think every player is unique. I just felt that the stuff I described at the top, in addition to the poise he has on the field while he's playing, stood out to me. I think he's an intelligent kid, and he just has a lot of positives for him. And we do spend a lot of time getting to know players, and they're all, when you're getting looked at the top of the draft, you're usually a pretty special person. Like I said, it's not easy to become this good. It's not just gifted talent, and so you're almost always impressed with the kids that you're dealing with at the top. But I think looking back on the last 10 years of kind of being involved in amateur scouting, he's kind of ranks up there for me with a lot of the high school shortstops that have gone really high in the draft, and I think that he's got that kind of potential.
Go ahead, Dan.
Dan Conley, The Athletic. It's kind of a question for all three of you, just in different perspectives. But Mike, you've talked about the enormity of 1-1 and how that's a tag that goes with the player for the rest of his career. Why do you think Jackson will be able to handle this? And Jackson, how do you think you'll be able to handle having that target on your back as 1-1? And also, Scott, as far as you've had these guys 1-1s before, why do you think he fits that mold for you? So whichever one goes first.
Well, I'll let him answer that. I just know, and I've talked to him about the fact that it's a little different experience than even if you go second or third in the draft. My assessment is that he will be equipped to kind of involve those challenges productively in his development path. I mean, I think the baseball draft is there's a lot of randomness to it. I think it's very rare for the first pick taken end up being as the very best player in the whole draft, and that's not the expectation or even the need when you're picking #1. We just kind of want to make the best investment at that moment that we can possibly make, take the right player for us, just find the best fit, and hopefully have a really solid, healthy, productive career and help us win playoff games in Baltimore.
And it comes with some pressure, but luckily enough, I've got a good foundation in my family, and I'm just going to handle it like I have everything, and just play hard and work out and try to be the best player that I can be.
I think Jackson said it when he spoke of foundation. Greatness is when you have the intimacy of greatness that Jackson's had in his life, of being in the Holliday family and watching Leslie and Matt deal with what it's like to be a great player in the major leagues, what it's like to be a championship player, what it's like to deal with all the business components of a major league career, all the decisions. There's a transference, a maturity that creates a calmness, because every route and path that you hope bestows upon a #1 pick, and that is that he becomes a great player, the expectancy of being a great player. And then once you have arrived and you have been honored with the contract that says you're a great player, how do you execute it? And it's a rare library that the Holliday Library gives Jackson, and I can tell you he's read all the books.
Hey Jackson, Rich Dubois from BaltimoreBaseball.com. Realistically, how quickly do you think you can play in the major leagues?
I want to be up here as fast as possible, so I would love to come out hot and continue to play well. So hopefully 2 years or less would be my goal. So, I know it's a big goal, but I think that I can do it.
Stan Charles with Press Box. I'm asking Mike and Scott, I know at settings like this you'll ask who a player reminds you of, and the answer is, well, he's as unique, he's his own unique player. But who does he remind you of? If you had a comp, and Mike, you've been scouting an awful long time.
Yeah.
Scott knows the business.
I don't like comps, Stan, actually, because I think it just puts a player's career and everything in mind, and these players are also different. I can sort of like what I was saying at the top, speak to the fact that a left-handed hitting shortstop that has a good swing, that has a blend of speed and power, and can throw, and we project to be able to stay at the shortstop position and do so very well. It's rare to find, and they tend to go in the top couple of picks in the draft, and they, if he hits like we think he's going to, and he gets good fortune and health, he's I think going to be one of the impact players in the league.
Scott?
I think what Jackson reminds me of is not an individual name. He reminds me of components that you see that great players have, and that is a passion to play every day and the right reasons to play every day, and to create an internal expectancy that he really hopes to achieve and do so in his own time and foundation. When you have that, I remember when I was a player, I played with a great player named Gary Templeton, and we were in AA one time, and a writer asked him, who do you remind yourself of? And he goes, what? He goes, who can run and hit like me? And I go, I had to kind of agree at the time, who done it, but it's the kind of thing where the ability to know who you are, but to ability understand where you need to go, and having the humility to take on information and to accept information and to deal with the struggles. That's the foundation that I think Jackson spoke of. And so that's what he reminds me of, a player that is really equipped for greatness.
Pete Gilbert with WBAL TV. Jackson, obviously with your dad is an incredible role model. You understand what you're getting into in terms of Major League Baseball, but I'm curious, have you talked to any of the other players who are, sons of players? There are so many great ones right now in the league. Do you go to them for any kind of advice? Because it is a little different unique hole that you're in as far as coming up in that?
I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to any of the ones that are in the major leagues now, but luckily enough, Patrick, his dad played for a really long time, and he's helped me through this a little bit, and just being able to lean on players that my dad has gotten to play with has been very helpful for me, and just kind of getting into knowing what I'm getting into has been very helpful. Just being raised in the game.
Excuse me, Patrick is the son of Rafael Palmeiro.
Dave Ginsburg, Associated Press. Jackson, what does it mean to play the position on the team where Cal Ripken once was so great for so long? Certainly, I'm not comparing you to him, but that is someone that, held that position on this franchise.
It's an honor to be able to be in this organization and play a premier position that he played for so long, and I hope that I can get here and play shortstop for a really long time.
Jackson, Mike mentioned obviously what's building here. How exciting is it for you to join the organization at a time like this?
Very exciting. It's awesome to be able to get into an organization that is heading in such a great direction, and I'm hoping that I can get here fast and contribute in a good way. So I'm very excited to get in and start playing and getting to meet all these guys.
Jackson, Peter Schmuck, BaltimoreBaseball.com. Just curious, was there ever a moment in your life where this wasn't the place you wanted to be at this time? Or this wasn't the thing you really wanted to do?
No, not really. This is kind of what I've wanted to do as long as I can remember, and it's a blessing to be where I'm sitting right now.
Jackson, do you have any big purchases? Anything exciting you want to get for yourself?
Nope, not really. I already got a car, so nothing yet.
One for Mike, Steve Molesky from MASN. With a player who already is so good and has such good tools across the board, what does the organization do to try to take it even to another level?
I can say at this moment in time, I mean, we don't have any plans to make changes. That's why we took him first. We like his swing. We like his approach at the plate. I think he's going to prove that he's got a good eye at the plate. And I think he's got a really sound fundamental base with the way he throws and the way he addresses ground balls. He's 18. And there's a lot of refinement ahead offensively and defensively that'll just kind of come as he gets pitched to and makes mistakes in the field and gets exposed to pro instruction and the pro environment. But I am hopeful. As I said, I mean, every single player encounters bumps and there are going to be struggles. But we think that this is a player that is really kind of set in the right direction. And, we just kind of hope we can keep him on the path that he's already on.
Jackson, Gabe Lax with USA Today. I know you haven't been an Oriole for long, but what have you seen about the player development group you're about to join and what they do here that's jumped out at you and that you feel might make you a better player?
I'd say just the people and how kind they've been and intentional with us and how well of a job they've done. I mean, they have the #1 farm system, so I'm excited to get in and start learning from people that know more than me and get better.
Jack Silver, MLB.com. You said you were here years ago, shagging balls at Caitlin Yards. I mean, what's your familiarity with Baltimore? And I guess how excited you get to know the city a little bit?
Yeah, we came a few years ago when my dad was with the Cardinals, and I got to shag BP and hang out at the ballpark for a while. But other than that, this is the second time I've been here, so we've been able to walk around the city the past few days and get to see all the historic spots that Baltimore is known for. So I'm excited. This is a great city.
Jason Lockenfor from 105.7 The Fan. We had the pleasure of talking to Coach Harris on my radio show last week. He seems like he'd be a lot of fun to play for. And one of the things he talked about was a conversation you guys had after you got back from Team USA. Do you think you're the best of this group? And he said that you said no, but I'm going to get faster, I'm going to get bigger, and I'm going to commit myself to being right there with the Drew Jones when it's all said and done. I guess, could you kind of walk us through that process? And obviously, you put in the work to get where you got.
So after USA, I wanted to get better, and I wanted to have a great high school season to hopefully be in this position. And I mean, I sacrificed a lot to be in this position, and I didn't go to school. I just did online so I could focus on my game and try to be the best player that I can be. And it all worked out. So I'm really glad that I put in all the work that I needed to do and to be in this position.
Go ahead, Stan.
Mike, Stan Charles again. How rare is what he accomplished in that year before the draft? You talked about it, that he was probably late first round. How rare is that for somebody to improve their lot that much?
It is unusual with high school players to kind of have as meteoric a rise up the lists as he did in the spring. I think that, like Jackson just alluded to, it's probably easiest explained by the physical growth that he made this year. I think it enabled his. He's always had a good swing. I guess since he's 3, I was watching some videos online. It looked pretty good, and but it just being stronger and being more physically mature, and he's going to continue to get stronger and more physically mature. I think enabled his swing to kind of get into a more consistent spot. But yeah, I mean, it was a very hard charge up many draft boards, not just ours, this spring, and I think it's a testament to the work that he put in over the winter.
We have time for one more question. If anybody has one? All right, thanks everyone. Appreciate everybody for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.